Okay everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to continue on with Storm Above the Reich, and we're actually going to go on mission number 2, early 1943. We're going to do our setup here, but before I do, I got some housekeeping to take care of. A couple things that were pointed out to me. Okay, so in my last video, Mark pointed out in the comments below that I added these up wrong here. And let's see, so I think I had planes that were set up like this. But what I did was I counted both of these elements here into all of this. And I shouldn't have done that because the -1 for the fallen bomber only goes for these 4 boxes around this particular bomber. So if I was attacking this particular one, this would be a -1 because the loose element, and over here would be a -2 because it would be within these 4 boxes as fallen bomber. The element, when an element is loose or when it's kaput, that's the entire element. So that's all of these boxes that are around all of these planes in that unit. So they would have got, if it was over here, it would get a -2 to all of them. So what I did was I took a -2, a -2, and a -2 on both these boxes during my combat. Fortunately, looking up on the chart, both these would have had the exact same result if it was a -1 and a -1. So I lucked out for that, but I want to thank Mark for pointing that out, and so that I explain the rules correctly to you guys, and that I understand them correctly too, because I totally missed that. Then the next one is much bigger than these, and that has to deal with my last wonderful mission here. So at the end, I told you that it was the best mission I ever had, and it was, and I had a lot of good dice roll, and that's a bummer to discount all of that. But it was pointed out to me that I did the combat up here wrong when I had a stack of them. I put 2 of them there. And what I should have done was had the whole stack there. Now, when I first compared, and I wrote in the comments below, it didn't really hurt anything because it would have ended up exactly the same. It would have ended up a dogfight, and everything would have been the same. But unfortunately, that was not true. When I was looking up on the combat table, I was looking up underneath the P38 column, and it was exactly the same for both those. But underneath the Spitfire, it was different in both those columns. So actually, that would have messed up this whole group here that was fighting. So I went back and went through everything and took away all the stuff that it would have created. So I actually ended up with 2 EP earned and 1 victory point earned. And then on the back here, Haas, which I thought had 4, he actually ended up with 1. Grizz here ended up with 0, so I would take that away from him. Unger still is good, and Unger is still in the wounded box for this mission too, so I get to roll for him at the beginning. So with all that, let's go ahead and start getting this board set up for our mission number 2. And hopefully we'll do a little better than last time. Okay, so for the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll for the map. So we're going to roll for that. And we get a 4. So 2 to 8, map number 6. So over here, map number 6 is what I have. And I will write map number 6 onto my map there. The next thing we do is we roll for the mission type now. So we're going to roll for that and see what we get. And we got a 1. 1 is inbound mission. So on this, we'll probably inbound. And then the next thing we do is we roll for our OP points, operational points. And we get a 3. So inbound mission, 1 to 3 is 2 operational points. That's all we get. So 2 operational points, and we have to spend those right away. All right, so let's see if we can get Unger out of this box here. We have to roll a 9 or 10. And we get a 9. So Unger is now available for us to use. Okay, so we got 2 operational points to use, which is not a lot. So, okay, so looking at my pilot roster here, I think the 2 guys that I want are Groswalski and Haas, because they have the quicken. So hopefully I won't get any combats, but who knows now. So those are the 2 that I'm going to take right here. All right, so now that we have our two guys, we're going to see what we get as far as escorts go. So we'll roll here, and we have a 5. So 5 to 8 on inbound is light. So turn 6 is the turn that they will escort. So it's light, and it's T for P38. So we got 5 P38s. Okay, so our escorts are going to leave turn 6. Escorts exit. Tactical points was 2. Okay, so here are 5 P38s. I'm going to mix them around, and we'll pull out 3, 4, 5. These two go back. So our next step is to figure out where our P38s are going to come in. So we're going to roll here on our escort setup. And we get a 6, 6 to 8. 2 forward, 3 below. So we'll put 3 below here and 2 forward. Okay, so now we refer to our situation manual here, and we map 6 inbound. So we're going to roll to see which one of these planes come in with some damage, if any. We have a 4, so number 4 shows damage on this very bottom plane down here. This plane right here, we're going to go ahead and pull out a damage marker and a wing 10. So we're going to roll and see if we can get a 10, and we get a 4. So this one comes in with 2 wing damage right there. Okay, so next thing we want to do is see if we have anchored here. So let's see if we have that. Rolled an 8, 7 to 10. Is nothing. So no anchor. Next thing we're going to pull out is sun to see where our sun is at. And that's a 2. So 2 to 4, it is in the high flank. So our sun would go right up here in the high flank. So anything coming out of the high flank would get that advantage. Now we roll for tactical points. See how many points we get to work with here. This is actually a 9, so we actually get 5 tactical points. Then we're going to roll for flight limit to see how long this lasts. 5, 7 turns. Okay, so there you have it. Startup of our next game. We have 2 FW190s, both with the quicken advantage. We have 5 P38s. They're in the forward and below trailing. 3 of them in the below trailing, 2 in the forward. Our mission, our flight limit is 7. The P38s leave on turn 6, which really isn't going to give us that much of an advantage. And we have 5 tactical points to use. So we'll see how many of those we can use. Okay, so let's start on turn number 1. The first thing is our move. So we're going to move this to low. And Griswold's going to come over here to low. So Haas is low nose, Griswold is low tail. We don't have any returns. We go to our escorts. Okay, so the first one we'll roll on is our forward position. And we get an 8. So 8 to 10 brings him down to below trailing. We'll put him on the bottom. Then we have our below trailing. And we get a 7, which is flank level 2 to 4 o'clock. Okay, so our next thing is a recover. We have nothing to recover. Blast and flak. There's no blast and flak coming in. So now we roll for cohesion. And the only one that we have to roll on cohesion is this one down here. It has 1. And we get a 9, so there's no cohesion there. So that leads to attack, which we don't have any attacks. So now we just come on over here and move our time track up. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of turn number 2. So now we're back to move. So we're going to move to low approach, and we're going to move to low tail approach here. Our returns, no returns. We go back to our escorts. Okay, so the first thing we'll roll on is a roll on our forward section here. Forward. And that gets a 6. So 5 to 7 is nose level. And then we're going to roll on our below trailing. And we get a 2, which is forward station. So that goes right back up there. So we're liking the way that these are moving right now. Okay, so we have recovery, nothing there, blast and flak, cohesion. So we only have this one cohesion down here. We'll roll on that, see what we get. We get a 1, so we actually loosen up this element right here. So that just made a position to where my aircraft are going to be coming in right here. All right, so our next step is the attack. So we're going to come in nose. So we're going to come in nose on this 2 damaged one here. And we're going to come in low. So both of them are low and attacking this direction right here. So we're going to select fighter mode. We're going to keep them in determined because both of them can flip because they both have the quicken skill. No collision check to be made. And then we're going to select our maneuver. So what we want Griswold here. He's going to go high flank. So he's going to climb and roll this direction. So he's going to end up over in high flank over here where there's no aircraft. And then Haas here. Actually, Haas we want to climb. So we're going to have him climb so that he ends up in high tail. And Griswold is going to dive roll. So he ends up in low flank. So that's the way that we'll have them work that out. So advantage, we don't have any advantage because we don't have any position advantage or anything. Okay, so now we're going to go and attack. So let's bring you in a little closer here. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to do our tail low. So we'll bring that on over here. And here's our tail attack low. So we have tail low and determined. He gets hit, but we will flip him on over so that he doesn't get any. Oh, wait a minute, sorry. We have 2, there's no anchor tail. So it's 2 minus 1, so we're actually at 1. So tail 1, also, we got a choice. We got no ammo or a hit. So I'm thinking we're going to take the hit. Unfortunately, that's what we're going to have to do. So first off, we will flip him on over so that he's an evasive. Mix this up good. And we have 3 on the wing for our tail. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to do our, not tail, we want nose attack. And again, this is 2, so it's minus 1 because element is loose. So we have a nose attack. It's 1 and it's low. And it's a nose attack, so it's a pass through, but we have a hit. So we'll fly on through and we'll pull out a hit for this guy, and it's on the wing. This means that when there's nothing on there, there's no chance for a critical hit. So all we get is the 1 wing damage. So we have 3 damage on that aircraft and 3 on my wing. So that evens out. So now we're going to do our continuous fire. We'll do our continuous fire on Griswold first. And there's continuous fire, and we're in number 1, continuous fire nothing. Determined mode only. After breakaway, move escort marker from the above trailing station to fight in the return box, to the fighter's return box. So we are not in determined mode, we're on evasive. So we can avoid that. So he is going to climb, he's going to roll dive into the evasive with 3 damage here. So it's going to take a while before he comes back out. And Haas here, he's nose, but it doesn't matter. Continuous firing, and he's again a number 1. So we'll flip that on over. Number 1, he's in determined mode, Haas is. So there's no damage, nothing. Confusion, if green pilot, which he is not, so we don't have to read that. So we're good to go. So he climbs to the high return box here. So take these off here. All right. So that was a good lot of nothing, but we got it done here. So the next thing is just to move on to our next turn. So move mission turn number 3. So the first thing we do is moves. We have nobody to move. We have a return, so Haas can come in here to high. And then we do our escorts. Okay, so we'll do the forward station first. And we get a 3. So 1, 2, 3 is above trailing station. So this one's going to go above trailing. He's going to be coming out next into some box. And then we'll do below trailing here, which is a 5. 3 to 5 is tail low. So here he is, tail low now. We got an enemy there. Okay, so our next thing is recovery, which is what we have here. So we have elusive, so that's a wing, so it's a recovery. So we're going to roll for a 3 or more. And we get a 1. Oh, man. So we've already lost this guy. He's going to go on over here to wing. So he's in the wing area. And we'll toss that back. So our next blast and flak, which we don't have, and cohesion. So down here we have 1, 2, 3. 3 there. So we're going to roll for a 3 or less. And we get a 3. So excellent. So the element now goes to kaput. So it's a -2 in the whole element. And any attacks? We don't have any attacks because he's right there. So now it's on to turn number 4. All right, turn number 4, we're going to make our move. So our move is into the high approach. Do any returns? We don't have that. Escorts. This is the one I'm dreading now because we have a guy in the high position. But let's go see what happens. Okay, so let's do the dangerous guy first. We're going to roll for him. And we get a 10. 6 to 10, the box with the most fighters. Well, we only have 1 fighter. That's Haas right here. So that's where it's going to go. Then we have below trailing, so we roll on that. And that's an 8. 8 goes to above trailing, so he'll be coming out next. But let's see if we even have a next turn. Okay, so we're going to have combat here. We have 4 P-38s. He is actually in the high position. They came out in trailing high, so they're not higher than them. So, okay. So fighters higher than escort? No. More fighters than escort? No. So we come on over here to the P-40 Spitfire, and we roll. And we get a 6. So 6 to 7 is B, which is break off. Fighter and escort markers exit. Okay, so both the fighter and escort exit, so Haas is out of the game. So all we have left to do, find out if our man Growalski is going to survive. So he is here, FW-190, so we roll to see if he lands or crashes. So our first roll is a 5. So 5, 3 to 5, he's on fire. All right, so the poor guy's on fire. So let's see if he bailed out, if he had enough sense to get out of that flaming pile of wreck there. And he is 5. So 5 to 7. Let's see, he's on fire. Goes that one. 5 to 7. He's wounded. So he goes up to wounded. But the nice thing is he does get 1 experience point. So we'll add that into our log that he has the experience point. Okay, so that pretty much is all of our fighters. They're all gone. That was a very fast mission turn. Now we do have 3 more mission turns. So we could actually roll for this right here to see if we can get one of these guys to fall out of the sky. And that would add to our mission, but I'm not sure. I think that's permissible, but I'm not sure if it is risen. So I'm not going to play that way because that's going to be boring for you guys to watch as I roll each time to see if these guys fall out of the sky. So for me, that's the end of mission number 2. We are going to move on to mission number 3 and hope that we get some better rolls, more aircraft, and see if we can earn some points, because we earned absolutely nothing except for Griswold because of his pain and suffering. Has got 1 experience point, and hopefully we can roll a 9 or 10 and get him out of there on one of these missions so that he comes back in with his experience points. So that's the end of mission number 2. Thanks for watching. I sort of told you at the beginning it was going to be a short one, and it was, but we will go on to mission number 3 in our next video. Take care.